Three disturbing true bar horror stories. Welcome back to another chilling episode, my fellow night owls and darkness devotees. Tonight, we delve into the shadowy corners of those supposed happy hour havens, the bars where we go to forget, to unwind, to escape, but sometimes the escape finds us. Today, we dive into three disturbing true bar horror stories that will make you think twice before heading out for a drink. Lock your doors, lower the lights, and grab your drink of choice. Just try not to spill it when the stories kick in. Chapter 1. The Vanishing Patron. Our story takes place in a bustling downtown bar, the kind where the clinking of glasses blends with the murmur of conversations. Behind the bar, seasoned bartender, let's call him Mike, was working his usual Friday night shift. The bar was packed, as always, with a mix of regulars and newcomers. Around 10 p.m., a man Mike had never seen before walked in. He was tall and lanky, with dark hair slicked back and piercing blue eyes that seemed to observe everything a little too intently. He wore a long black coat, even though it was a warm night. Mike, ever the attentive bartender, noticed the newcomer right away. He watched as the man made his way to the far end of the bar, choosing a dimly lit corner stool. There was an odd stillness about him, an aura that made the hairs on the back of Mike's neck prickle with unease. "What can I get for you, sir?" Mike asked, forcing a smile as he approached the man. The man looked up, those unnervingly sharp blue eyes fixing on Mike. "Whiskey, neat." His voice was a low growl, almost lost in the surrounding noise. As the night wore on, Mike kept a casual eye on the man in the corner. He didn't seem to be there to socialize. He sat alone, nursing his drink, his gaze distant and unfocused. Every now and then, those blue eyes would flick up, scanning the room with an unnerving intensity. The man ordered another whiskey, then another, each time with that same unsettling silence. Hours passed, the crowd thinned and closing time neared. Still the man remained, his third glass of whiskey untouched. "Last call, folks," Mike announced, his voice echoing in the now almost empty bar. The man in the corner didn't react. Mike walked over, intending to remind him of the closing time. As he approached, he noticed something strange. The man's glass, full just moments ago, was now empty. "Did you finish your drink, sir?" Mike asked. A note of curiosity tinged with apprehension in his voice. The man didn't answer. He simply stared at Mike, those blue eyes wide and vacant, a chilling smile playing on his lips. Then slowly he started to fade. His outline blurred, his form flickering like a distorted image on an old television set. Mike watched in disbelief and growing horror as the man dissolved into thin air, leaving behind only the faint scent of whiskey and a silence heavier than before. Chapter 2. The Watcher in the Shadows. Our next tale revolves around a tight-knit group of friends. Their usual Friday night haunt a dimly lit dive bar on the edge of town. They called it the Rattle, a fitting name considering its ramshackle charm and the cast of characters that frequented it. There was Sarah, the life of the party, always ready with a joke and a contagious laugh. Tom, the quiet observer, his wit sharper than any blade. Emily, the voice of reason, grounding their dynamic. And Ben, Sarah's boyfriend, the protective one, always looking out for his friends. This particular Friday night was no different. The jukebox blared classic rock, laughter filled the air, and the friends were lost in their own world of shared jokes and stories. Around midnight, a new presence cast a shadow over their revelry. A man, cloaked in a heavy hooded jacket, his face obscured, slipped onto the bar stool at the edge of their group. His arrival was like a sudden drop in temperature, a chill that ran down their spines. The air grew thick with unease. At first they tried to ignore him, but his presence was a lead weight on their carefree mood. His eyes, glinting from beneath the hood, seemed to follow their every move. Whenever one of them caught his gaze, he would quickly avert it, but not before they noticed the unsettling intensity in those hidden eyes. "Does anyone else feel like we're being watched?" whispered Emily, her usual cheerfulness replaced by a nervous tremor in her voice. The others exchanged uneasy glances. They couldn't put their finger on it, but something about the hooded figure felt deeply wrong. The laughter died down, their carefree banter replaced by hushed whispers. The hooded figure remained, a silent, ominous presence at the edge of their awareness. As the night wore on, the feeling of being watched intensified. Every time they looked towards the hooded figure, they found him staring at them, his gaze unwavering, predatory. A wave of fear washed over them. This was no innocent bystander. There was something sinister about him, a palpable aura of malice that sent shivers down their spines. "Let's get out of here," Ben said, his voice low and urgent. He couldn't shake off the feeling that they were in danger. His protective instincts were on high alert. They decided to leave. But as they made their way towards the exit, the hooded figure rose from his stool. He followed them, his movements slow and deliberate, like a predator stalking its prey. The friends quickened their pace, their hearts pounding in their chests. They burst out of the bar into the cool night air, the sudden transition from the dim interior to the streetlight's harsh glare momentarily blinding them. Panic surged through them as they realized the hooded figure was right behind them. They ran, adrenaline pumping, fear lending speed to their steps. The hooded figure followed, his presence relentless. The sound of their own ragged breathing filled their ears as they raced down the deserted street, the echoes of their footsteps mingling with the pounding of their hearts. They ducked down a side alley, hoping to lose their pursuer. The narrow passage was dark and damp, the stench of garbage filling their nostrils. Chapter 3. The Room Behind the Wall. Our final tale of terror takes us to a late-night haunt on the outskirts of a quiet suburban town, The Last Call. The bar was known for its cheap drinks and even cheaper clientele, a place where the forgotten stories of the night unfolded under flickering neon signs. It was a slow Tuesday night, the only patrons a handful of diehards nursing their drinks, lost in their own thoughts. Behind the bar, a young woman named Lisa was finishing her shift. Lisa, a college student working her way through school, dreaded these late-night shifts, the silence broken only by the occasional clinking of glasses and the hum of the old refrigerator. She began her closing duties, wiping down the sticky counter, collecting empty glasses, and mentally running through the to-do list for her upcoming exams. As she moved behind the bar to reach for a stack of clean glasses, her hand brushed against something unusual. It felt like a loose panel, hidden behind the worn wooden frame of the bar. Curiosity piqued, she pushed against the panel. To her surprise, it swung inward, revealing a small, dark opening, hidden in plain sight. A musty, stale odor wafted from the opening, sending a shiver down Lisa's spine. Armed with a flashlight from beneath the counter, Lisa cautiously peered into the opening. It was a narrow passageway, barely wide enough to squeeze through, leading to what appeared to be a small, hidden room. A sense of unease gripped her. She had worked at The Last Call for almost a year, and she had never seen this before. The air in the passage was heavy and oppressive, thick with the weight of forgotten time. Lisa's heart pounded in her chest, her instincts screaming at her to leave it alone, but a morbid curiosity, a need to know, propelled her forward. Squeezing through the opening, she found herself in a small, dusty room. The air was thick with the smell of decay and something else, something metallic and cloying that made her stomach churn. Cobwebs hung from every corner, and dust covered every surface. The only light came from Lisa's flashlight beam, which danced across the walls, illuminating strange symbols and markings scrawled in what looked like dried blood. The sight sent a fresh wave of fear coursing through her. This was no ordinary room. As her eyes adjusted to the darkness, she began to make out the details of the room. The floor was bare earth, cold and damp. In the center, a single wooden chair sat facing a wall adorned with a tarnished mirror. The mirror was covered in grime and cobwebs, but even so, Lisa could sense something off about it. It was as if it were watching her, reflecting something more than just her own terrified face. Beneath the mirror, resting on a makeshift altar of stacked bricks, lay a small wooden box, its surface carved with intricate patterns. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more chilling tales. Remember, the next time you find yourself reaching for another drink, casting a wary eye at the stranger in the corner, or feeling a chill run down your spine for no apparent reason, you might not be alone. Stay safe out there, and remember, sometimes the scariest things happen in the most unexpected places. Sweet dreams, and I'll see you in the next video.